sir. We back. We live, all the way live. It's Kyle Rush, Daryl Dapper. It's another barn cast for you and yours. How about that? We're talking about Nate Oats' response to Bruce Pearl. Bruce Pearl was on, what was it? Special like TNT edition of college basketball tonight or something like that, wasn't it?
Right. Yeah, it's like a studio show. After the games, they do some raps and some post games.
Yeah, and they asked essentially the whole panel about the Charles Bediako situation, and Bruce told it like it was. I thought, and I know this is about what Nate said, but I think you need to hear what Bruce said for context. So we're going to listen to what Bruce had to say first, talk about that, and then we'll listen to what Nate had to say after in response.
Well, I think that I understand the argument that Alabama made from the very beginning. There are a lot of G League players and foreign players that are here that played professionally, and they were able to come back. But the one thing none of those guys did was none of them signed their eligibility away.
Right.
He made the conscious decision to go play professionally in the NBA, sign that NBA contract. He gave up his eligibility.
Yeah.
That's the one major difference. I think the second thing is this. Alabama decided to play an ineligible player. Bediako was ineligible the entire time he was playing, according to the NCAA.
They just got that judge injunction that allowed him to play for that small window of time.
Correct. And the Alabama went to the NCAA and appealed the ruling, and it came back again. He is ineligible. So I think then they make a decision. Nate said he'd play him 100 times again. What it tells me is that Nate really doesn't care about the SEC. He doesn't care about the NCAA, and it's fine. You're going to care about your student athletes, that's fine. But you're a member of this conference, and you're a member of the NCAA. What about the rest of the team? What about the rest of the players? Why should those 5 teams have had to play against an ineligible player? And I think it was selfish, and I think it was wrong.
Would you feel that way if we were talking about Baylor and not Alabama? I just want to get like the Auburn-Alabama rivalry out of it.
No, the Auburn-Alabama rivalry is out of it. The bottom line was he was ineligible. They appealed it. They said he was ineligible. They went to court. And the court said he could play with some sort of injunction, and they played him knowing that there was a possibility that he could be ineligible again. So they just they didn't care about anybody else in the league. They didn't care about college basketball, and I understand that. But you know what? If you don't want to be who we say you are, then don't act that way.
I agree.
We could unpack. I know this is mostly about what Nate had to say in response, but let's talk about that for a second, because the key indicator, the key thing I think that everybody's really upset about is the whole playing him knowing that he's ineligible, I guess, being told he's ineligible, and then when he's ruled ineligible eventually, there's no consequence. I think to me, that's not even that much of a controversial – that's not much of a controversial take at all.
Well, and here's the thing, and I know you well enough to know that it doesn't matter, but I do want to preface this and put a disclaimer out there for all the people that are up in arms about this is an Auburn show. What do you care about what Alabama does? It's relevant because it's an Auburn coach that says it, and it's an Alabama coach that comes back at the Auburn coach, and we'll get more into that later. And it's also an SEC issue.
Yes.
So I think there's nothing that Bruce Pearl said that wasn't factual. Nothing. In fact, now, is there an argument to be made that he can't get inside of Nate Oats' head and say he doesn't care about the NCAA or the SEC? I think that's where maybe it was a little strong. You really don't know that, but we've always been taught, well, what bears fruit? You look at the fruit, right? So what he said about he cares about his student athlete above that is completely factual.
Yeah, and I wouldn't even say it's that strong. I think it's pretty factual. You had the NCAA told you what they thought, then Sankey supported them.
Yes.
The NCAA, not Alabama. And you still chose to stick your nose up there. So I don't see anything remotely controversial with what Bruce had to say. Now let's listen to Nate's. And this one's interesting. He says a lot to say not very much at all.
Before you hit that, let's also comment that Jamal Mashburn, who's sitting right next to Bruce Pearl, who's a Kentucky player.
Not Magic Johnson.
Not Magic. It's Jamal Mashburn. He agrees 100% with Bruce Pearl, and he doesn't have a dog in the fight.
I think he was worse about it than Bruce was, because he talked about the training and all that kind of stuff. So All right, let's listen to what Nate had to say.
Good thing I read my Bible every morning. So I just read in James about how to respond to certain situations like this, and respond in love. It's the way it tells me to respond. So they have their viewpoints. You know what? I have not gone back. People send me stuff like I told you guys. I keep social media off my phone. I try to focus on my team, what we have control over. I have no control for what they say. I know Bucky well. I think some of his was maybe taken out of context, and I'm very familiar with things being taken out of context. So I think his point was more, he felt like, according to the way he told me, he felt like Charles should be able to play the whole year.
Oh,
it was his feeling. I mean, he's got a kid playing on a temporary restraining order as well. Like, he felt like Charles should be able to play the whole year, and he should be able to play against everybody else. Now, how do you make it right for them that Charles is not able to go against the rest of the league? And you know what? With Bucky, to be honest with you, and I respect Bucky. He called me. We talked, and not just about that, on some other stuff. And Bucky's a high school coach. You talk about it. I addressed the thing with Chris Beard after the game. The guys that came up, more like myself, Bucky, Beard was in junior college ranks. Guys that came up, that you had to have a love for the players that you coached, because I didn't make any money the first 16 years. I was an assistant Division III coach for 5 years, a high school coach that my money was paid to be a teacher, not to be a coach.
It's all about the kids.
And you do it for as long as some of us have done it, and you don't make any money off the kids. You're spending a lot more money on them than you make, and you're in it for the kids and for them. You get a little different perspective. The kids are not being used by you. The kids, you're in lock with the kids, and when you have a right to make, or you have an opportunity to make things right by guys that you've invested all of your time in, and you want, like guys that are more sad for Charles.
Yeah,
Have a
just heartbroken
viewpoint towards Charles. We're coaching the kids. And I'm gonna be honest with you. Everybody that's in college athletics, if you ask them why do you do what you do, probably their answer is, we do it for the kids that we serve. Well, I guess we see who really does it for the kids that they serve. And who doesn't.
Right there.
I think the response by Chris, and I think really Bucky, and I, again, if you took one or two sentences out, they probably sounded the other way. In talking to him, I don't think it was meant that way. I think he feels like Charles should be playing and should have the opportunity to play, and wish that everybody else would have had to play against us when Charles.
All right, I couldn't handle any more of that. So Bucky was just sad because nobody else got to face Charles Bediako. That's what he was. He wasn't mad about having to play him, and mad that he was eligible. He was sad because nobody else got a chance to play Charles Bediako. That's more than likely what he meant. Is that what you think, Dap?
Yeah. Look, one thing, the hypocrisy off the charts. First of all, I know for a fact that that's not what Bucky McMillan did not. Absolutely. That's a lie. That is a lie. That maybe they talked, and maybe Bucky tried to walk it back, because if they have to play. Bucky McMillan is Bucky McMillan, and you saw what he said after the Auburn game with the last second shot or whatever. He meant what he said and said what he meant. He said basically it's not fair that we had to play him with Bediako, not the way Oats spun it and said, and everybody else doesn't get to. That was a really convenient way to do that.
Well, see, Dap, though, what he did do, and I think he should call Bucky out on this. What he did do, I think, is turn it like he's being sort of like a smart aleck about the fact that Bucky has a player that's only eligible because of an injunction. And surely Bucky wasn't saying that Charles shouldn't have been able to play because he's got one. So I'm sure what he really meant was this. That don't take that as we're buddy and I'm taking up for my buddy. That was a shot back at Bucky, and honestly, that one might have been warranted. Bucky should have gotten a shot fired back.
Yeah, and I think let's talk about the problems with the hypocrisy and how he's talking out of both sides of his mouth.
That's
how I'll say it. First of all, if you're going to invoke James and you're going to pull out the Bible reference, don't say you're going to respond in love and then throw Bruce Pearl under the bus with, we can tell who does it for the kids and who doesn't. That's a shot. That's not responding in love. So you've just said you're going to do that, and then you throw that shot across the bow, and you also throw one at Bucky McMillan. Second of all, when Bruce Pearl was a coach at Auburn and Nate Oats was at Alabama, Nate Oats took multiple shots, petty little shots. I'm going to be careful how I say that, with the arena comment about it's easy to fill up a high school arena, how he developed Aiden Holloway. He wasn't getting developed at Auburn. He took shots at Bruce Pearl, and Bruce Pearl didn't say a freaking word.
Well, look,
And
I'm going to take up.
It drove me crazy, though, that Bruce Pearl would not come back at him when he said those shots.
Let me take up for Nate really quick. James is a long book, so it may have taken him a
That's true.
It's a really long book if you're going to read.
I'm
James.
trying to look. I've looked at James really, really hard, and I'm trying to find the verse that talks about carrying a gun to a murder scene, and I really can't find it. But anyway, and playing that kid, right? Playing that kid for the student athlete. I'm not saying he should have been arrested, but there wasn't even a, hey, let's sit out practice until we sort this out. So that's the first hypocrisy. The other one is every single time Bruce Pearl referred to his faith and anything that happened at Auburn, the other side of the state and writers and pundits and people who are affiliated with Alabama mocked him for it. A lot of them did. Not all. A lot of them did. So that's a little hypocritical as well. You're going to pull that out, and you can't have it both ways. And then I'm just telling you that if Charles Bediako's name was Jimmy Smith and he was a 6'2" guard that was a walk-on, he doesn't care less about doing everything for the student athlete. It's about winning. And that's okay. That's fine. If that's who you are, be who you are.
Yes.
But don't hide behind James. Don't hide behind being a teacher, coming up through the high school ranks and all that crap. I mean, that's ridiculous. Any coach that has become a Division I basketball coach has had to pay their dues somewhere, either NAIA, JUCO, South Indiana State Tech, wherever Bruce Pearl was, where you wash uniforms and you drive the bus and the team van and all that. He's not special. He's not different. What he is hypocritical, because again, I'm going to answer this in love, and then I'm going to take shots at both dudes. It's a joke.
I got a super chat. The hypocrisy, him saying it's for the kids, and you have the audacity to go get a pro to help you, is asinine. You didn't trust your current roster, so you go get an NBA player. But what do I know? Coward response by Oats. I get this vibe that it's almost like the nun in the Elf. You know, the children love the books. The children love the books. Like it's all about the kid, like the kids. And this kid just so happened to be a 7-footer. In the G League, that went into the NBA draft. Like, what about the other kids on your roster? Like, you have some other pretty tall guys like Taylor Ball-Bowen, who's 6'10", and then you got the kid. What was his name? We were just talking about him.
Noah Harrison.
Noah something.
Yeah,
he was an Ivy League guy. What's funny is he's actually a European player that you brought in, 7-footer that we thought was going to be the greatest, one of the greatest portal pickups ever. And, why not play him? No, but this particular kid just so happened to be kind of good. And so we're going to circumvent the rules to try to make it eligible, but we're playing it off like it's this big charity deal. Like it's this really big charity case. Like we're really going hard. We're really playing the heartstrings, really pulling the heartstrings there, that this is all for basically charity.
Back in the day, every time there was something that happened with a mystery or a crime documentary or something, I would watch the news. They always had these body language experts on, and they would break it down. And this lady would like break it down frame, say, lie. Watch his body language and how uncomfortable he is and how he's trying to convince. I mean, look, just stand on business. You may not like me, but I'm going to say what I think, and I'm going to say it with my chest, okay? And we can agree to disagree. He needs to say, I don't have to explain myself to anybody. I played him. because I wanted to play him and I thought he could help us win basketball games.
Dang
and
right.
if there was a loophole, I'm going to find it because that's my job. I don't care what Bruce Pearl has to say. I don't care what Bucky McMillan has to say. They've got to worry about themselves. I'll worry about me. End of story. I would respect him a lot more if he did that than hiding and being hypocritical and throwing out high school teacher. I mean, he was a math teacher, and this doesn't add up.
Ooh, that's a bar right there. I'm gonna give him a stand. I would give him a round of applause, a standing ovation if he's like, yeah, man, everybody else is cheating. So I'm gonna try to figure out how to cheat until somebody starts calling everybody out. There's no reason why I have to, sit back and get get hammered when dudes are coming in from Europe and dudes are coming back in from the G League and all this kind of stuff. I'm gonna play the game too. So but don't be mad at me. Be mad at the NCAA or be mad at whoever's in charge here for not having a little bit more sense of what's going on. That would, to me, would make that would have been a whole lot better. I would have been like, maybe I'm a little bit jealous. How about that? And we'll talk about that in that piece of it in just a second. Should Auburn be playing a little bit more hardball? But yeah, let's don't do this charity thing. Like, let's don't pretend this wasn't a 7-footer that could hopefully go give you, 14 points and 10 rebounds a game. Like, that's what it is. In end of story. So,
yep.
Go. You got anything else?
No, I just keep thinking about all the theatrics that he does and the things he's done and the technicals and this yelling at the LSU coaches, get the bleep out of here and all. I mean, you be who you are and stand on it and don't make apologies for it.
He's working his way through James, man. It's 5 long chapters.
He's got a lot more to read.
Yeah. It's 5 long chapters. He's having a hard time getting through it. Maybe it's a chapter a year. I don't know. We'll see. NH Barn Booster again. Since Nate wants to talk about the Bible, I want to refer to him to Galatians 6:7. A man reaps what he sows, from the Reverend. How about that?
Mm-hmm.
What goes around comes around. West Dog says this confirms the news Kyle recently heard on Oats. I'm not sure what that means.
Probably the one you did about he's a scumbag.
Oh yeah.
That was
breaking news. That's what it was.
Phenomenal. I only wish there are certain things in life that you regret.
Yeah.
And you look back on and you wish you could change the course of time. I just wish I was a special guest on that show so bad.
Is there a better description?
No.
Did you ever hear the definition of, what the definition of scum is? Hold on. Let me read it. Okay. Scum is a layer of foul, worthless, or unwanted matter that forms on the surface of liquids. Metaphorically, it's used as a harsh, insulting, or slang term for a despicable, vile, or dishonorable person or group of people. Scumbag. It's the best description you can have of Nate Oats. All right. I want to switch gears and change topics slightly before we get done with this. So we're talking about Nate Oats and we're talking about the Charles Bediako situation. You watched the game Saturday in the last 4 and you see where Auburn struggles at times, especially in the paint, and you're thinking, and maybe even from at the guard position, and you're thinking, man, what a difference Chaney Johnson and Denver Jones would make on this team. Both guys who had some sort of argument, some sort of case that could be maybe fall in one of these scenarios that all these guys are getting these injunctions or waivers or whatever they're getting, that we appealed it or they denied it. And we just said, that's water under the bridge. How do you feel about Auburn's attitude there to, like, for lack of better words, playing dirty?
Well, I think Auburn's too cautious and too careful. And I think they are a little bit soft when it comes to realizing that you have no in your back pocket. You do. And, I don't know if this is a Cohen-driven thing, like we talked about with the NIL stuff in the summer, if their compliance has got such a big role in this athletic department and that power has been given to them. But I am under the belief that Auburn needs to be more bold, more brash, quit laying down and taking it, so to speak, and allowing, like I'll go back to something that seems so trivial, but to me, it exudes attitude and it exudes personality and it exudes who you are. It defines you. When Lane Kiffin came after Auburn time and time again on social media, and nobody, I mean, I get it. People say, oh, it's just social media. There are so many things that Auburn could have, it makes you appear like a little weak, a little bit like I'm just going to take it. I get taking the high road, but it's at some point you have to fight back or you get the reputation of being soft. And I'm tired of Auburn's coaches being a little bit soft when it comes to that and not being brash enough. Fight back, fire with fire. You've got no in your back pocket. You've seen other examples where other schools have did it. You could always refer to them if Sankey or someone tries to slap you on the wrist. Whether it's officiating, where you get screwed 3 or 4 times this year, Lane Kiffin and his little girly comments. I mean, enough's enough. I want to see, and this is why I think Golish is the right dude for the job, because go back and watch his little interaction
with Tom
Herman. Tom Herman. It's not going to happen. It's not Auburn from a football standpoint. It's not going to take stuff lying down, I think. And so I just want to see, and I think Stephen Pearl is hard nosed. I do. I think he's got that dog in him, but I want to see more boldness, more brashness. Quit playing scared and operating afraid. You got no in your back pocket. It's better to ask for forgiveness sometimes than permission.
So yeah, I agree with everything you're saying there, but I wonder how much power the coaches actually have in these scenarios, or if it's, if it seems like it goes above them, because it felt like Greg Byrne has been all, gung ho about this. Like maybe even he was involved with getting it going with the whole Charles Bediako situation. So if John Cohen I'm trying to look at it through his eyes and steel man why you can't just shoot the middle finger to everybody. I'm just having a really hard time finding it right now. I mean, like we just said, we know Bucky McMillan has a guy that's playing. He's been playing all year long. Rashawn Agee, 14, almost a double-double, 14 and 10 a game almost. He's had 14 and 7 against Auburn. He wanted to get that 6th year, didn't get it, so they filed an injunction, and the hearing will be at the end of the season. So I assume if whatever happens with the hearing, they're still not going to be penalized. And then you got the Charles Bediako situation, and there's multiple examples even within this own league. So it's like, how many have to happen before we either step up, or is it just from the standpoint of we don't want it to go completely off the rails? So you're trying to just be patient and see how these things are going to play out before you say, okay, you're continuing to let this stuff happen. We're going to have to respond. Is it better to be that, or is it better to or punch first, I guess?
Well, I think we're past the point of being patient. And I think you've already got a precedent, so you don't have to worry about punching first. Someone else has paved that way for you. Someone else has wore that, right? You're punching 3rd or 4th at this point. You have equity. You have a safety barrier between you because you're not going out on an island and being that pioneer, being the first to do it. It's ridiculous that you let 2, 3, 4 schools pave the way and then you just sit back and still operate scared. Look, everything I know of John Cohen, he don't play. He's not soft. We saw what he did to the official on the field.
Yeah.
Okay, we saw Terry McCauley hates John Cohen because he feels like he got an official fired, right? He hates me too, but that's okay. He feels like he got an official fired. Well, there has to be some, I don't know, some boldness and some brashness. I just want it to filter down to the coaches. I want there to be this mandate that, like I said, you've got no in your back pocket. We're sick of sitting around. Someone brought up a great point in the chat. Remember what happened in overtime? Missouri, those players Remember Drinkwitz standing on the freaking pillar,
Yeah.
acting Kirby Smart? Enough.
We just took it.
We took it, and I'm tired of it. I mean, you can go 5-7 and still be a jerk. I mean, you see what I'm saying? I mean, you took it. Why'd you take it? It didn't gain you any wins. It didn't gain you any favor with the SEC officials. So enough. Start being bad. You know what? Fighting back. Enough. I mean, you can Pat Dye's teams and Tuberville's teams. They didn't play. You were not going to cross them. And if you're an official, you had to be careful coming into Jordan Hare and you're not going to see someone stand on a pill. It's ridiculous that Auburn fans have to witness that. Pay good money and sit in that section and watch that.
Yeah, I'm with you 100%. You got Dallas Walker approved. I don't think he really had to battle too hard for that one. But you got Chris Murray now. You got Chris Murray out there. I think you probably could have got a guy like Bobby Travis, if you would have really pushed for it. So with Chris Murray like lingering out there, do you think that there's nothing you can do with basketball now? Like basketball, it is what it is. There's no adding anybody at this point in time. Like we're in the middle of the semester. You can't do it right now. But could you take some of that information or some of the precedent you've seen and you say, okay, here's what we're going to do. We're going to get Chris Murray eligible. Like we're going to do whatever he changes that defensive front, that whole setup. If you get him back and makes that whole group, you feel, at least from my point of view, you take a big deep breath and you're like, okay, we got some guys now that have proven production. Could you see some of the other precedent from basketball, Trinidad Chambliss? And, Cohen has kind of made some comments. He made some to Justin Hokanson where it's like, we're trying to do this the right way. But if this stuff keeps happening, we're going to have to respond. Could you see that being a response? That would be an easy one.
I do. I think because you still got the spring and you watch, I don't care if it's in volleyball, water polo, or basketball. If you see somebody come back and a school fight, I mean, the Trinidad Chambliss thing there is no way. If you just said, bet your house, Daryl, I would have thought no. And he did. Why? Because Ole Miss didn't take no for an answer.
No.
You've got a dude in Pete Golding who has been absolutely emasculated in the press for what he did going after that Clemson linebacker. And he still had the cajon to go get Trinidad Chambliss another year, being under the microscope of what he did with tampering.
Yeah.
Right? So I say throw out all that and say, tell me no. Oh, you've told me no? Okay, you're going to have to tell me no again. You're going to have to tell me no so many times. Sue me. That's it. I'm going to keep asking.
Yeah.
I'm going to keep asking. And I hope that this football staff and Golish are sitting back looking at this and going, why does it help to just sit back and try to be patient? Let's go get it. It's in the spring. Chris Murray knows the defensive schemes. He's a player that's played here before. You can get him eligible in June if you need to. Let's go and keep fighting for it.
I think they are fighting. I think they are fighting for this one, and I think at least he feels some confidence that it could work out.
Well, the social media post where he said, "See you soon, twin," or whatever. He doesn't say that if he doesn't feel, I think, confident, Kyle, that he's coming back.
Exactly. Barn Booster, there's a difference between reckless and aggressive, and the right kind of aggression is what Auburn needs to win more consistently. I agree with that. I think there's a difference between being brazen and saying, and then just taking precedent and using that and applying it to guys that you already have that fit that mold. I'm not saying go get a G League guy or an NBA, or not go get Jared Harper, or go get I'm not saying go get Sharif Cooper, they've played NBA minutes. But I mean, if you got a guy that's already on the roster who fits in a bucket that's close to some of these other guys, why not? Why not at this point? If they can help you, why not? How much again, I hate to go back, but how much different does this team look if you got Tahad in Denver?
Because Tahad would slide to the 2, where I think is his natural position, and he's freer and he can shoot, and you don't have to have him handling the ball. And then Chaney
and you're
down low, really? Oh, this team's probably got 2 or 3 more wins with
Exactly.
those two. And so I get it. But, you also wonder too, maybe Stephen Pearl, let's flip this. This whole hypocritical argument about caring about the student athlete, maybe Stephen Pearl didn't want to go to these kids he recruited and say, I'm going to bring 2 kids in now over the top of you to play when I promised you minutes to come here.
Yeah, I mean,
Even though it'll help us, I promise you were going to start at the 1. And oh, by the way, Kevin Overton, you were going to now. If Denver slides in there, Overton goes to the bench, and Jovic doesn't get as many minutes. Maybe Stephen Pearl's really the one that cares about the student athlete and says, I promised these kids something. I'm not going to bring 2 players back in to play over the top of them and take away their minutes.
Yep.
And I think that's in Corinthians.
That
last time I
is
checked.
2 Corinthians. I think.
Yeah.
It's in 2 Corinthians. Dat man, killer stuff as always. Really appreciate you, brother. Tell them how everybody can find you and support you.
Sure. Wednesdays and Fridays with Zach on Locked on Auburn. Whenever you get your podcast, I love jumping on at halftime of the watch alongs that you guys have. We have a lot of fun doing that, and then I go live after every basketball game with Zach, and then of course every Sunday night. I love doing this as well. It's fun, a lot of fun.
When do we play this week?
Wednesday at Mississippi State.
What's that?
Wednesday at Mississippi State.
Wednesday at Mississippi State. Okay.
And I think it's an 8 o'clock tip. So get your coffee out, gang. You love hanging out with us. I think that's one I'm going to jump in early. It's tough to do at the arena, but I think the St. John's game, I watched the whole second half with you guys and we won. And I don't know why I didn't do that again. So I think I'm going to jump in and stay for just with you guys. We'll have fun.
That'd be so much fun. They are a blast. So make sure you tune into that, guys. You know where to catch me every single day during the week. We're all over the place. So make sure you're subscribed. Make sure you hit the alert bell so you know when all of our new content drops here at the barn. We appreciate it. Y'all have a great evening.